Welcome back to DataDash. My name is Paul Sampson, and today is Monday, July 14th of 2025. And folks, we just witnessed history yet again as Bitcoin has officially closed its highest weekly candle ever, joining the S&P 500 and the Nasdaq in printing fresh all-time highs. At the same time, spot Bitcoin and Ethereum ETFs continue to see massive inflows, a clear sign that institutional appetite is still growing even at these elevated levels here at all-time highs for Bitcoin. Meanwhile, the total 2 altcoin market is fast approaching a major breakout zone that I've been eyeballing for quite some time, and if it breaks and holds, this could signal the start of something much bigger. We've got a jam-packed episode ahead, so if you have not already, please be sure to grab yourself a nice cup of coffee, whether it's hot or iced, because I'm breaking it all down right now. Folks, we essentially just saw Bitcoin perform what's known as a short squeeze, where we have a hard and fast move to the upside, closing out many people that are trying to short this market. And if you want to know where and why I called for that recent short squeeze just before it happened, it was all shared inside the Traders Club Discord, where I post daily updates covering both short-term trades and long-term outlooks, not just for crypto, but for the traditional markets as well. And as a member, you'll get full access to everything I offer, including my educational academy, where I break down exactly how I set up the charts, what tools I use, and the indicators I rely on day in and day out. You also get exclusive member video updates, direct insights, and a front row seat to the same analysis that I use in my own trades. If you're ready to level up, head on over to the datadashpro.com and choose the Traders Club Discord option. You can also choose to subscribe to Nick's Dash Report newsletter, or you can bundle for the both of them and get the full DataDash experience. All right, everyone, let's get things started off right. So Bitcoin, once again, closed the highest weekly candle we've ever seen in history, pushing well above $112,000, closing well above it now here. We are starting to see already another little leg higher. We've already pushed to a new all-time high of 121,500 at time of recording this. And so far, this has been the norm in the last few days. We're back in a position where Bitcoin is putting in a new all-time high every single day has gone by since we've broken 112 just about 5 days ago. Now, folks, this shouldn't be taken lightly. This is a true and blue Bitcoin breakout through and through. And what I mean by that is, of the last few times we've seen iterations where Bitcoin has tried to break out, we've had just maybe a wick above the previous high, and then we'd come back and close below it, or maybe we had a day or so where we closed above and then we came back below as well. This is not only the weekly closing above this, the 5 days I just highlighted closing above this previous high as well. If you look back in any time, that has been pretty much historically exactly what you want to see for bullish momentum to continue. So it's Monday, folks. It's our macro outlook here. So let's take a look at some of the things that are kind of driving the Bitcoin price behind the scenes. I'll get into a little bit of a shorter term outlook of what I anticipate Bitcoin to potentially pull back to if you want to see a little bit of a slight pullback, if we're going to get it before continuing higher, what those price targets are. And then we'll also talk about that shark as well, that basically provided the framework that allowed at least myself to be relatively bullish around $74,000 back in the height of the tariff fears, when I was targeting back towards 108 to 112,000, once again when we were trading at 74. And it also allowed me to target from that 112, potentially a pullback down to the 93 to 88,000. We obviously did not see that. We front ran that level by about 5%. And so forth. We'll get into that here in a bit. So let's take a look at some of the ETF inflows here for Bitcoin. So a little different look here for the ETF inflows and outflows that we generally look to, but I did like this new setup here. So I wanted to point out that right as we were basically breaking into these new levels on Thursday and Friday, we had 2 back-to-back billion-dollar inflows. So once again, this is showing really big risk appetite amongst the institutional investors. And the last time that we saw a billion-dollar day like this was actually back on November the 6th. So the last time we saw a billion-dollar net inflow on the ETFs there, it was on the 6th of November, which was exactly the last time that we broke out as well and had a sizable move to the upside. So incredible demand as we are seeing across the market. A little bit of euphoria setting in, a bit of FOMO, I'm sure, as well. And honestly, I want to kind of break down a couple things here. Keep it as level-headed as we can be. We obviously don't want to be chasing things if you're, on the sidelines, or if you're looking for a fresh entry of any kind. As always, there's going to be opportunities that are going to rise. There's always going to be another red day. And let's take a look at what we could see a little bit short term here as far as Bitcoin would go. And then we're going to take a look at a ton of other things today. So first things here, I just wanted to highlight that we have a new weekly pivot. So that's the average of price from last week, likely to be met this week. It's not always so respected when we have a high breakout like this, but if I was looking for an area where Bitcoin would be likely to retrace to without getting a deeper, big pullback, because right now everybody is doing, the best that they can to identify a area for an entry, and I'm sure that most are going to be waiting for a pullback to the previous all-time high. That is in turn what you would look for. You'd get a breakout and a retest of that previous resistance, now support, and that's what you'd want to look for. I would say that my eyes would be up here at about 115,300. If we're to see any type of a pullback, I think that would be around there before we would continue higher. This allows for just a bit of a shallow retracement to the downside, a little bit of, you're going to stop out some really late longers up in this region. And not by any means that this is a given that this would be something that we'd see, but that's where I'd look to if I was looking for an area and the reasons behind it, right? Once again, this is a average of price from last week, very likely to be met this week, just a couple $1,000s away and still well above our previous highs, keeps us in, full uptrend mode here. And that's what I'd be looking for in the short term. As far as any kind of invalidation of, continuing higher from here, coming back below the previous all-time high would not be a good look at this point. I'm not necessarily in fear of that at the moment, but of course we always have to be willing to adapt if something like that was to occur. But at the moment, we're really seeing some big strength up here. I would say that if anything, we're going to maybe see a slight pullback to around 115, and then we get that run to continue up towards about 125, maybe 130. All right, from there. Now let's address the shark, the harmonic setup that I've been talking about for several weeks, and I want to point out a few things. So this structure here was something that I had been targeting since we were trading right here. We ended up sweeping the lows right there. This was also a quarterly low. I was looking for a retrace back up into this region, reclaiming $80,000. We had a little bit of a short squeeze right here as well that pushed price higher and higher and higher. We had a yearly open around this region, so far and so forth. And I was targeting this shark completion zone, all right, this 108 to 112, 114 area. I also had a end of May target for it as well, so I was able to put a little timing behind it due to fib time, and lo and behold, that's exactly what we ended up doing, right? We ran it all the way from 74,000 all the way up to 112. Mind you, during the peak fear of the tariff woes, we had wars breaking out across this time frame as well. We remained bullish. All right, and then the idea here was more than likely we'd catch a rejection around this region, and then I was looking, the idea at hand was going to be that this would go from a shark to what's called a 5-0, and which it comes down to these the 50% fib mark, which is where I was highlighting this target box, and then we would look for the reversal from there. So a shark to 5-0 and go has been my overall thesis here, right? So we identified it at the low, we ran it to the high, got a 12% pullback, front ran it just by about 5% right here, and then we got the reversal, and we are going in a pretty obviously strong move here. So in my eyes, this is now done and over with. I wouldn't marry this or look to this any longer. It did its job for us. We were able to once again look for the longs and the move to the upside off of it. We did get a retracement off of it here. I was also noting that this took 4 months, right, from this time period to start to finish to complete. So I was looking for the target zone in between 1 to 2 months. So looking back now, obviously a little hindsight, but we had the completion zone right here in May, and we had 1 month later was our low. Very, very much intact for this type of structure here. So to me, like I said, unfortunate it front ran that region. It was never a sell everything at the highs here and look to buy it back. It was just a be aware we're going to see a pullback most likely. This is where I'd look for the freshest entries if possible, if given. And then from there, we move on. But front ran us a little bit here. We're up in this region now. We're above the all-time highs. We're moving on to new information. But this was a decent structure in my opinion, but it is now invalidated. So in the short term here for Bitcoin, looking for potentially a pullback to around 115 and seek some continuation. If we lose 112, that's where things start to look a little rocky as far as maybe a deeper retracement at hand. And then overall, the bigger picture still remains, I think that this is the path that we're on, which is an AB equals CD setup. which takes us into the 130, 135 mark around the end of September. Now we're getting there a little bit in a hurry here, so it doesn't have to be this exact time frame, but this region up here is where I think we can see the next sizable retracement, pullback. If we were just to continue up to it, that 130 to 135 is the spot I'm looking for a pretty decent pullback again. Now we've discussed many times what the altcoin market needs to see for a sizable rally to the upside, an altcoin season, many we call it, but really I'm looking at the total 2 market cap here, and essentially what we're looking at is a major cup and handle setup that has been forming for quite some time. We've got this all the way back from the 2021 highs. We've got the nice rounded bottom here coming into the peak where we saw it around the end of December last year. We made a perfect textbook handle right here where we just kind of sideways consolidated to the downside right into a gold pocket, which was from the low to the high, this was our gold pocket right here. We got a nice bounce off that region, and I've been waiting for one major region now, one area to get reclaimed for the next confirmation for some more continuation to the upside, right? So not to say that when we're trading along these lows here, I'm only looking for once this flips is when I'd get excited. At this point, I'm looking for this area to hold. I'm getting positions at play at this point, but now in today's environment, what I'm looking for is that if you're not already positioned, or if you are positioned, right, everybody's got different entries and different time frames of what they're viewing and how they're viewing the market. But from 2 days outlook, if we flip this 1.33 trillion, especially on a daily closing basis and the weekly closing basis coming up, I think that we have a sizable rally coming up here for the altcoins, of a continued rally at this point, right? So this is definitely a good sign. We'd look for, obviously, the high here to get reclaimed as well. For me, that's where everybody and their mother is going to be looking to. Probably will start pointing out this. I'm surprised that everybody's not pointing this cup and handle out already. This is a very simple pattern that I don't usually look to anymore these days, but it's just so clean. And obviously I'm looking to more so of the horizontal yearly here for the major confirmation. But yeah, looking to flip 133 trillion on the altcoins, and I think it's on like Donkey Kong, folks, where we can see a really nice move out of the overall market. And earlier today I posted it on Twitter, and this is a 120% move, and somebody had said, oh, whoop-de-doo, a 2x. This is not the same as looking at the, an individual asset going up 100%. If we were to see a move like this, it would be incredible. And just to put that in perspective, just the move from the low right here to the high right there, that was about a 58% increase here. And we saw at that same time Ethereum go from $1,400 to $3,000. We've seen everything else, right? So it's not just the market individually is going to see a 100% move. This is where we could see some very sizable moves. So for comparison, back in 2023, when we saw the altcoins really rally from the October 2023 timeframe to the March 2024 high, this is where we saw things like Solana go a couple 100%. I mean, pretty much the entire market boomed around this region. This is actually when Solana came out with the meme coin frenzy as well. So just to put that in perspective, that move on this chart was exactly 148%. So if we were to see a similar move like that now, which is only a 20% difference, you can anticipate to see a very active altcoin market, right? So once again, I'm speaking fast because I have a lot to cover, not trying to incite any FOMO or anything of that nature. There's always going to be, you have to be able to approach this market with, intent and with a strategy, and whether that be a short-term strategy, a mid-term strategy, a long-term strategy, there's no reason to rush into anything at this point. Just take your time, figure out what is best for you, follow along for a bit. The market is gonna be here, so don't feel the need that you have to come out, rush out tomorrow like you're gonna miss this overall rally that's gonna happen overnight. I also don't believe it's gonna happen overnight, right? So I think we have some time. And folks, if you're looking for a place to start trading crypto, WeeX might be a great place to begin. It's a clean, intuitive platform with over 600 trading pairs between both spot and futures, giving you plenty of opportunities whether you're a beginner or a seasoned trader. And right now, if you sign up using our partner link down below, you'll receive a 20% bonus on whatever amount you decide to deposit into the exchange. There's no KYC required, but you will need to confirm your email and phone number to receive the bonus. So use the link down in the description below to get started and boost your trading capital today. Now, the S&P 500, of course, was the first of the majors here to put in some new all-time highs just a couple weeks back, and has been just really holding above these regions. So this is kind of zoomed out here. I just want to keep highlighting that the next major target zone that I look to, not anytime soon, but over the next coming months, maybe even a year, is up in the $7,500 to $7,700 region, right? So that's just the, get that out of the way, the high side targets. In the short term here, if we were to see a little bit of a cool down, I'd look to see a back test of this range right here, which is about 6140, 6150 in that region. And if we hold this area here, this would be a similar thing where we just see a breakout, back test, holds the previous resistance into support, and get the continued move to the upside. 6150 is then also going to be the area we want to see if we're going to get any type of pullback. If you start to lose that region, that's when we can start looking a little bit lower. We've got a couple of things down below us that would make sense to just come back for. Really wouldn't break anything here. Just once again, it would just be coming back below the all-time high. Probably, you know, get people worked up in the sentiment side of things. But we do have some big key regions down in these areas below us if we started making our way down there. But right now it's the line in the sand for any downside is about, it's pretty much the high right here, right? So it's 61.44. So I call it 61.50, but give or take it's 61.44. Look to see if we get a retest of that for any more continued upside, lose it, and look for some of these key levels down here for the next major support. Overall, still targeting more upside here for the S&P 500 to come. MicroStrategy or strategy has a potential bearish bat, which is a harmonic, which is a sequence of Fibonacci's. Once again, I've got a potential time frame up here that I actually put up here months ago, at least a month ago, but potentially a little bit before that. I know I put it in the Discord is the only reason I bring that up. At least 1 month ago, we were just looking at it. And yeah, looking for this to potentially have a completion around $508 around the end of the month. Not married to this by any means, so I'm just tracking this along the way here. The reason I point this out is because that would be a very interesting setup here where if I'm looking for a potential pullback, this would be the area I'd look to. And if we hit this region around the end of July, it just gives me a little bit more confluence to that notion. And once again, this is a bearish setup, not to say that it's bearish overall, but if I'm looking for a sizable retracement, it would most likely come out of this region here. Silver has been going crazy, making yet again another new all-time high as well. Haven't changed a single thing on this chart since we looked at it back in the beginning of the year. We were looking around this region right here for a pullback into this area, which we got a little bit of a push up before that. And then the 382, the yearly pivot, it was exactly where we were looking for to seek out a continuation to the upside. We've now broken past the 2024 all-time or the 2024 highs and seeking out the next move here, which for me is about $44 up above us. So we're trading currently about 38, so not too far off it at the moment. More than likely we get a little bit of, you know, some ups and downs along the way. It won't be a straight line, but $44 is what I still anticipate seeing in silver in the, you know, midterm here. And gold consolidating really nicely here, almost the same setup as silver as well. So I still have my areas below that I'm aware of if I'm looking to kind of DCA into any zones. A big one being all the way down here. I don't know if we'll necessarily get it, but the 3,000, 3,100, you know, that region is a big one. Otherwise, though, no reason to think we wouldn't see a continued move up towards the 36.61 zone, if not more. All right, folks, we've got a big week ahead. As always, please try to stay level-headed. There's no need to rush or FOMO into anything. The best trades usually come from patience and a clear strategy, so be sure to take your time and approach the market with intention. And a reminder that if you're looking for a solid platform to execute those trades, check out our channel partner WeeX with over 600 trading pairs, no KYC, and a 20% deposit bonus when you sign up through the link below. And if you want to follow along with my day-to-day market outlook, setups, and exclusive insights, come join us inside the Traders Club Discord, available through DataDashPro.com. This is everything I use, share, and teach is all there, and I'd love to see you in the community. Thank you all so much for watching. As always, I'll catch you all in the next video, and until then, everybody, cheers.